Greetings. What I have here on the bench is a stereo receiver that I found on the side of the road last week. It's from around 1970. It's a Panasonic. The model number is RE-7670, which is right here on the back. You can see that information. The speakers are 16 ohm impedance, and they can handle 6 watts apiece. They connect with RCA connectors. It has an internal antenna. I've not hooked an external antenna up to it yet, but the internal works really good. I can pick up a lot of stations from inside my house with it. The phono and tape have separate connectors for their inputs, but share the same selection on the front panel for the knob there. You turn it up and it's either phono or tape, and I guess it just depends on which one you have it, whatever plugged into. And there's a recording out option. When I first got it, I plugged it in and it seemed to be fully functional. The volume control is also where the power switch is. You get a nice click and then turn up. Right now I have it on the phono tape selection. I'll put it on to radio. And
we evolved with the changing climate as opposed to bring everything to a halt because of it.
Yeah, the problem I had initially was the volume. When I would turn it up, the speakers were really staticky and cutting in and out. So the only work I've done to this unit so far is I took the top off and was able to get to the control for the volume and the pan pot, and I put a little bit of F5 deoxit on there and worked it back and forth.
Average listener there.
And got that scenario taken care of. The other thing I noticed that was wrong with it is that it had 2 out of the 5 indicator lamps behind this front panel here. They were burnt out. So I found a video on YouTube of a person replacing those, and they had a link in the description where those could be purchased, and I believe that is a project I am going to take on. But other than that, it is aesthetically or cosmetically in really good condition, despite sitting on the side of the road outside for I don't know how long. But it didn't have any exposure to rain, because for the last 5 weeks we haven't had any rain in this area. And I don't know if this has been sitting out longer than that, but it doesn't seem like it suffered any kind of water damage or significant damage by just sitting on the side of the road for any duration. It does have some dust, road dirt on it, and it's not really that dirty. I haven't really cleaned anything on it, so that's going to be the next step, is getting it cleaned up. And then the next step after that will be replacing the lamps for this front panel here. But other than that, this will be going into service in my kitchen area, so I can have some tunes to listen to while I'm doing kitchen stuff. I wanted to take a look on the inside of the speakers, and they had 3 screws on the back that could be removed, and then the panel would lift out from the bottom. Giving you a look on the inside here, it's pretty dusty on the bottom and some cobwebs and things hanging from the top, but there's the back of the speaker. I wasn't certain if it was an oval or a circle, but there you go. Also thought it was pretty neat how these speakers had, I had noticed that they had these little black rubber bumpers on here, and I thought, why would they put them on the back? They have them on the bottom too, that makes sense, but then I realized that these brackets would allow you to mount it on the wall, and then the bumpers would give a little protection to your wall surface. This thing's got some weight to it. I think in the user manual, I think it was about like 9 pounds. I'll flip it on this little pad here so we don't scratch its top, and then give us the ability to open it up. A lot of screws on the bottom here. Let's take a look at this sticker. Yeah, So I want to take a guess and take these 4 corners because they're kind of different than all the other ones. They're a little bit bigger than these, and there's 4 of those on the front. So here we have the inside of the right side up, and taking a look at the circuit board, we have our coil for the antenna. That's probably the radio stuff right there on that board. There's our transformer. All the goodies are on the underside. Well, before I flip it, I just want to get close and just kind of look at some of the dust. I think I want to take and put some compressed air on this thing. Not right now, but later on. Just blow out all this dust. While I have it open, I want to plug it in. And so we can see where the lights are out. So the lights in this thing actually look like fuses. You can see there's one right there that's not lit. We got 1, 2, 3 that are lit, and there's one over here. So there's 2 that aren't lit. Notice there's a stereo light. What's that? Must be some kind of, I guess it's in there. Well, it's too small to be the same type as these fuse lamps, but we've got a little rubber bumper there on top of the transformer. I guess that kind of keeps a cushion so that there isn't a gap there, and kind of keeps everything nice and snug in this enclosure. Also, you know, since this is a 1970 unit, you know, you would think, hey, are the capacitors in need of replacement? Well, since it's functional, I really don't want to go around and just recap the whole thing. I don't think that would be too hard, but it would be a lot of work. So I may just kind of wait till it starts acting up or giving me a reason to want to start ripping it apart to that degree. But just with the exposed top side here, looking in on this side, I don't see too many capacitors. So everything's going to be on the other side. There are 2, let me get over here and get out of the light. There are 2 disc capacitors right there. And there's an electrolytic, and that is a 10 microfarad at 10 volts. All right, put that back. So this is how I gained access to it initially. The power and volume pots are right here. And you can see it's 2 pots stacked, and then a little apparatus on the back to act as the switch. And they have those little openings there. I was able to squirt some deoxit in there. Also did it to this pan pot here for the speaker balance. But I didn't fool around with the bass or treble, and I didn't mess around with the switch for the AFC. The input selection, that's accessible from the top side, but just taking a look at the circuit board here, they have one of those little rubber spacers on the other side of the transformer, help keep it snug. Take a look at the, boy, this is pretty packed tight. Wouldn't be, well, I guess with the other side being able to, you know, have access to that fairly easy, that, you know, doing a recap on this shouldn't be too painful, but, you know, there's a good many in here. There's the big dog, some 2,200 microfarad at 16 volts, and they look like they are axial leaded, and we have a lot of radial leadeds in here too. In the back we have some, I assume those are output power transistors. Let me spin this around. We have Shita 2SB473. 2SB473. Looks like, yeah, they're all four the same. And there's our area for our radio tuner. I've seen a lot of these. I think those are adjustable capacitors. There's little variable colored square things with a little flat slot for adjustment. I don't really know a lot about those, but I know I really don't want to have to touch those or fool around with those at all. Yeah, if there's anything else more than cleaning with this that I think I would do, it would be recapping it. And these capacitors, at being 1970, this is about, we're heading into 2025, so how many years is that? 55 years old. So, you know, their service, I think they've done their job, but since it works, I'm just gonna roll with it until it gives me any sort of reasons to snoop around in here and find any sort of failed caps or drifting caps and just go through and maybe just sweep the whole thing with new caps. Taking a little closer look around this circuit board, there are some things in here I thought were kind of interesting. There's several of these little white things. They look like they're real close to the circuit board. They're white. They look like they have three sides to them. I wonder what those are. Are they transistors or something? Then there's things like this. What in the world is this thing? Some kind of cap? It looks like it's got two ends to it and it's axial leaded. What are these? Are those caps? Or are those like polystyrenes or something? You know, the electrolytics are pretty easy to identify, but you know, some of these might be, I guess, polystyrene. I don't know. I mean, what's that thing? What is that? And then I see like ceramics, you know, film capacitors, resistors, you know, peanut butter parts, but yeah. One thing's for sure, I mean, for something being 50 plus years old and still being able to do its job really without any major intervention, that's really impressive. And, you know, this was, let's see, where is it? Does it say it on here? Yeah. Made in Japan. Made in Japan, 1970. They're doing a good job. So this project now is at a point where I've cleaned the inside, dusted it, and got it sort of ready to kind of be put back together. And the last thing I want to do to it is I ordered some replacement bulbs, and these are an LED style bulb to replace these incandescents. There's a burnt out one right there, and then another burnt out one right there. And the three that are still good, I'm going to remove all five and replace them. Fortunately, this came in a 5-pack, and it was almost 20 bucks. But the ones that are still good, I'm going to just keep those in stock and have those as potentially backups for other projects down the road. This is the first time I've seen a bulb like this, so this was new to me. There's also a bulb back here that lights up the FM stereo indication on the let's see if I can get that to kick in. Yeah, there we go. So that works. But you can see how the bulb that's out here has that dim, and then the bulb on this side has this area dim. So just to get a good look, this is the before with the original incandescent bulbs in, and then I'm going to work on putting these LEDs in. So I'm going to use this little plastic tool here. Let's see if I can get a right in there. When I use it, just kind of, yeah, they pop out pretty good, pretty easy right there. Well, I probably should turn this off. Unplug it. Alright, so now I've got the replacement bulbs in place, all 5 of them. Let's turn them on. There we go. Let's see what that looks like from the front. It's sick. So yeah, it was two bad bulbs. I'm just going to trash those, and I got working bulbs. I want to put those in a little safe spot and have those on hand for a potential repair for some other vintage equipment that may just have a bulb out instead of buying a whole set of replacement ones. But this one just kind of worked out that it had 5 bulbs, and they sold those things in a 5-pack. So next is going to be cleaning off the sort of the age and the patina off of the metal surfaces on this receiver here. Trying to clean up the knobs, pull those off. Let's see if I can. Yeah, let's put a little bit of take like a toothbrush and some solvent. Maybe just take like vinegar and maybe rubbing alcohol. Just mild stuff to, I don't think I really need rubbing alcohol to get that cleaned up, but I want to use a microfiber cloth. Let's see what it looks like if I just put a little, yeah, and just a little bit of elbow grease, and that's going to clean up. So I want to put a little time on that and put this thing back together, and that should be it. Okay, so I've given this receiver a detail with just a little bit of vinegar and a old sock and a toothbrush and some Q-tips and a microfiber cloth, and that metal trim on the face really cleaned up. It's very shiny and reflective. Kind of go through and also gave the speakers a cleaning. Really just wiped them down with a moist, with an old sock and some vinegar, and wiped them off really quickly. And they really weren't in bad shape. Neither was the receiver. But with the new lights in the display, I'm looking forward to installing this in my kitchen so I can have a stereo to play music while doing kitchen stuff. Thank you very much for watching. The RE-7670 back in action.